Well, tonight we're talking about school choice, and we want everybody to know what school choice is. And that's for the parents to be able to choose where their children will go to school and that some tax money will follow them. And so we have two programs that are being pushed or we're going to push in the legislature. One is the tax credit program, and the other one is the school grant program, or the taxpayer savings grant program. Both could be excellent if we could have both of them. Anyway, in both of them, the students get money to attend a non-public school. How much money do they get? We're asking for 60% of what it would cost them to be educated in the public school. So it's a win-win situation. The student will be leaving. Many students can leave the public school if they wish. We're not pushing them to leave. But if they want to leave and their parents want them to leave, then they can do and take some money with them. How much money do they take? 60% of what it would cost the state. The state pays $11,000 per student, but we're only looking at the maintenance and operation, which is approximately $8,000. So we're asking for 60% of the $8,000 to follow the student. So what does that mean to the public school? One less student, 40% of what it would cost to educate that student. And as they leave, that's the same thing. Again, we're not promoting that they leave, but as they do leave, the public school system will profit. Why? Because they have fewer students and more money. So their cost per student, expense per student, expenditure per student is increased. They can use that money for whatever they want. They can use it for a salary increase for the teachers, but it means more money to them. It assists the parents who are sending their children to a non-public school. It's a win-win. That's the way we call it, a win-win. And that's what people have to know. We want them to know what the situation is, not to have some set mind before. That is not acceptable. Learn what we're asking for and what it means both to the non-public and to the public schools. It's win-win. Keep that in mind.
The parent will be able to choose the school that's best for their child, the child they know and love, and whether it's public or private, the money will follow the child to the school of the parent's choice. That's a simple concept. Another way to think of it is child-centered funding. Instead of funding districts or schools, we fund the education of all children in the state and then let the parents choose the school, and the money will follow the child to that school.
A couple of things. The big thing is separation of church and state. That's been debunked, so that really doesn't hold. If people are still saying that, they're really behind on what's going on in this country. Many states have programs already. Of course, they're always challenged, and that's to be expected. But they're being challenged by people who really don't know what they're talking about, because they're saying that we're taking money from the public school. No, no, no. This ends up with the public school having more money per student and fewer students. So that's the opposition. Are we trying to destroy public schools? Absolutely not. If a student going to a non-public school destroys the public school, then we are already destroying the public school because we have non-public schools. That's a no-brainer. That should not be brought up.
Well, school choice is a tremendously growing movement. Ever since it started about 20 years ago with the first small program in Milwaukee, we now have about 24 states that have adopted some form of school choice. It varies a little bit from state to state, and we're hoping that Texas will become the next state and will become the biggest and boldest school choice program by allowing every child in the state to have a choice of where they go to school.
There are 19 what we call tax grants, and there are 14 programs that are under the tax credit program. So some of them are for special needs students, some are under special cases, but we do have these, and the impression is that it's growing throughout the country. Now, another thing to talk about, in Texas, there are over 200,000 students in non-public schools at this time. 80,000, a little over 80,000 are in Catholic schools. It costs, if you multiply $8,000 per student by 80,000, you're talking about a lot of money that is being provided by the parents who are sending their children to non-public schools at this time.
particularly in Texas, we have a very large number of students who don't graduate from high school don't even achieve the basic. And then of those who do graduate, an extremely high number in the 30–40% are not ready for college or career. And then a huge number go to college and require millions of dollars of remediation. So when you have a government monopoly, which is what the current system is, you tend to get mediocre at best instead of excellence. And we want private schools and public schools and new schools that would be created to meet special needs populations as well. And the charter schools are a good example. When we started that in 1995, somebody said, there aren't no charter schools. Where are they going to come from? Well, the market will provide. There are passionate public school teachers who want to start their own schools. But this way, the money will follow the children. If they can create a good school and find a good building and a business plan and then say, this is what we're going to teach, and parents voluntarily come there, they'll have a great school. And we've seen that. One other statistic, we have about 150,000 children in open enrollment charter schools, which are privately run. But again, the funding follows the child, so you don't have to pay tuition. But we have 100,000 children on the waiting list. And some of those schools get low-income children with difficulties. 100% of them go to college. That's amazing. So we want those kind of schools to improve, and the bad schools to improve. We're not against public schools. In fact, under most of the proposals, if a person goes to a private school, they leave some of the money at the public school, so per pupil spending actually rises at the public school. The difference between what's kind of called a voucher or grant program and a tax credit program, the grant program would be available to everybody just as a matter of right. You get to choose which school and the money follows the child. A scholarship program is a little more indirect. First of all, a business in Texas would have to donate some money to a scholarship organization. They would then receive a credit on their franchise tax credit for that. So that would be their incentive to give. But then the scholarship organization would take applications from students, and they would decide which students get the scholarships to go to pretty much any private school that they wanted to.
It would be great for Holy Cross. We know that the students at Holy Cross, we have to take a survey for public reporting, and we have over 75% of our families qualify as low-income families. How can they afford to send their children to a non-public school like Holy Cross, which is the least expensive tuition here in San Antonio? Our tuition is just under $7,000 per student. How can a family with that low income afford $7,000? We know that it would allow them. Why? As students enroll or apply to Holy Cross, when they ask us what's the tuition, and we tell them, many tell them, I wish I could, but I cannot afford it. Also, we know that parents, after their children have been here maybe a year or 2 years, they'll say, I really cannot afford it anymore. And we do try to provide a lot of financial assistance. Over $200,000 was given to our students in financial assistance this past year, and also it's going to be the same for this year. So it would mean a lot for students. We know that when we had the private foundation, the CEO Horizon program, a number of students did choose. Are all students going to change from public schools? Absolutely not. If children are happy and doing well, they're not going to change. If the parents are happy and the children are doing well, they're not going to want to change them. So it's up to the parents and up to the students. That's what's going to make the difference. It's absolutely necessary that students contact your elected representatives. Remember, they work for you. You don't work for them. Don't let them turn the situation around. Call them, write them, email them. Ask about their position on school choice, because we want to know, and like I said, we're going to report whatever they report to us. They cannot say that they don't know at this time. They know what they're going to vote, and we know why they're going to vote. Remember, I know why they oppose or do not oppose. They know I know that they know. And so we both know what one another's thinking. So we're not going to take anything like that. Thank you very much for asking.